So I wanted to make this video kind of piggybacking off of two of my previous videos and kind of combining them and really kind of tying them together in a way that I don't feel like I did upon my original recording of those videos. I made one where I talked about Caitlin Clark's outdrawing the outdrawing the NBA. Her games in the WNBA are outdrawing the NBA, which is something I never thought I'd see from anybody. I mean, as awesome as she is, I would never thought I'd see the WNBA any entity in the WNBA outdrawing anything in the NBA. And I also mentioned that the NBA are very willing participants in this. And also, as you know, I've talked about the election. I've already talked about it more than I thought I would. I like to. I kind of want to get away from the politics of it, and I've tried to stay away from the actual politics of it for the most part, and just talk about how it's an indictment on just the fact that we as the average Americans have rejected the elite. We've rejected the media. Lily here has rejected the media and the elites just like everybody else. I mean, it's a situation where everybody that used to have all this like power over everybody, they ain't got it anymore. So, and like I said, that was just a big. It was a big moment because that was 8 years of them telling us and telling us and telling us that how to feel, what to feel, why. No, actually, never mind. They don't tell us why we need to feel that way. They just tell us this is how you need to feel. And as Americans, we resoundingly said, no, this is how we feel. This is how we're going to feel. Thank you very much. Um, and obviously, when you think about, politics, as far as, organizations and sports that have gotten involved in politics, the one that comes to mind first of all is the NBA. I mean, the WNBA has probably gotten even more involved in it, but, they've been pretty irrelevant until Caitlin Clark showed up a few months ago. Um, the NBA has just really dove headfirst into this, led by LeBron James, and I know he endorsed Kamala. I don't know how you say. I'm just gonna keep. I'm not trying to butcher her name. I'm not trying to show personal disrespect to her, but I mean I don't know the correct pronunciation. But he's out there. He's endorsed a lot of people that didn't make it. He endorsed Hillary in 2016. I don't know if you remember this guy named Beto in Texas. Yeah, he endorsed him. He didn't make it. And then just he opened his I Promise school, which I could make a video on itself, and use that as a chance to trash Donald Trump while he was president in either 2017 or 2018, and was resoundingly rejected by the public, even though the media just coddled him. And that's the problem. That's been the problem with the Democrats in this case. And like I said, I'm not a Republican. I don't consider myself a Republican at all. I just happen to like the way my life was under Trump, and I wanted to vote for him again. I don't have a MAGA hat. You know, that's just me. But the Democrats have. It's just like this propaganda machine. They've all gotten in bed with each other. The elites, the entertainment elites. The media and the Democratic Party seem to have all gotten in bed together. And when I talk about entertainers, I'm talking about athletes as well. And I know they're athletes and they undergo athletic training, but at the end of the day, they're entertaining us. And if they don't entertain us, they don't get to be athletes anymore. Unless you're in the WNBA and you're given all these handouts, but that's another story, which I've spoken about extensively in the past. But it just seems like, they're really, really, those folks are really, really having to pay the piper now, all of them. The Democratic Party got wiped out. I mean, obviously they're still around. And they'll bounce back, but I mean, right now they're as far down as I've ever seen. I can ever remember seeing them. I don't remember 1984. I was born that year, so obviously I don't remember it. But I don't remember that. And even then, I don't know if they had control of the Senate and House too. But that's another story. But yeah, they're down. The mainstream media. I mean, it's just showing that their influence, they have none. Their shows, I mean, they're basically making shows for themselves and for the rest of the elite that are in bed with them and for their little bubble and their little echo chamber. Their revenue's down. Somebody brought this up, and I was very surprised by this. I don't know if y'all watch behind the line, KC84. I love his videos. He's been an influence for me to try to do this. Maybe I should get professionals set up one day like he does. And if 84 is the year he's born, we were born the same year. He brought up a fact that I was not aware of. During Jay Leno's run on the Tonight Show. So Jay Leno had the Tonight Show in the 90s into the 2000s. I think he started in the late 80s, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe Johnny Carson was into the early 90s. Whatever it was. Anyway, he was there for a long time. And it was very popular. Him and Letterman going back and forth on their late night shows. Truly a golden era. As much as the golden era as it was with just Johnny Carson alone, him alone is a golden era to have two people that, they're not Johnny Carson, but they're close. That's a pretty golden era. And now, basically, the top three people in late night comedy, even though it's late night politics, really, these Tonight shows, these late night shows, they're supposed to be about comedy or all about politics. So you've got the Jimmy Kimmel Show, and I've talked about him quite a bit. Stephen Colbert and John Oliver. I think it's John Oliver. Anyways, those are the three, but it actually costs more money. And keep in mind inflation now. Keep in mind inflation. It costs more money for ad revenue to buy advertising space on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno than it cost for all three of those shows, of the current shows put together. That is insanity. That just shows you how far they've fallen. Like I said, they've all gotten in bed together to try to dupe us, try to pull the wool over our eyes. They did a pretty sorry job. We could see right through them. We could see what's happening. It's the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Well, I'm looking right at you. I don't know how you can expect me not to pay attention to you. I'm looking right at it. So, but it's affected them. It's affected late night. It's affected the politicians. It's affected sports. And that's where I'll talk about NBA ratings. I kind of talked about NBA ratings, but actually did a deeper dive into just how bad they are. I was shocked. I mean, they're compared to the games last year at similar times on similar networks. I mean, they're down anywhere from 30 to 50% a lot of the time. 50%. That's crazy. That's something that shouldn't happen, and it's something that just shows that they have fallen down the exact same rabbit hole and path to nowhere. And I mean and yeah, I know the World Series this year has much bigger markets. Last year was the Texas Rangers, which Dallas has never really embraced the Texas Rangers, versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are not the Diamondbacks of the big unit Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling, but I think they average 9 million viewers, whereas this year the Yankees and the Dodgers, New York City and Los Angeles, and the classic rivalry of the Yankees and Dodgers dating back to when the Dodgers were still in Brooklyn for so long. Jackie Robinson, Pee Wee Reese, and Gil Hodges, Duke Snyder, all of them, Roy Campanella. Just a lot of tradition. There, I think they averaged 15 million this year. But still, that does not explain just how, for them to just get beaten down this badly, just have fallen so far. And it just shows that, to America, entertainment is not entertainment anymore. These people that we, spent so long just basically, sitting back and letting, getting lost in, letting them take us to another place and, kind of leave the world and, mentally and leave our problems behind. They don't do that for us anymore. And we've rejected them. And we continue to reject them, and the rejection just continues, and they've, uningratiated themselves out of our lives, and it's going to be hard to get back. I mean, like I said, especially when I look at the NBA, there's not a lot on the horizon that they can look forward to. They're going to have a lot more years with Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic, dominating. And like I said, I have a lot of respect for their games, but I don't want to watch them. They're boring. Victor Wembanyama looks like he's going to be the next big thing, the next superstar, the next maybe top 10 player. I want to watch him. like I said, no disrespect. I mean, I don't have anything against him personally or his game, but it's just him and his game is not something I want to tune in to watch. And a lot of people feel that same way. And I mean, there's other factors too. Load management. You never know who's actually going to show up when you tune in. But just right now, entertainment means less than it ever has. Because we found other forms of entertainment. We've realized, okay, we probably need to entertain ourselves, and kind of create our own system, and maybe even interact with the people around us. Instead of spending Sundays camped out in front of a TV watching football, or spending all of our other time consuming whatever sporting event we can on television, like I did for so long. It's like, let's maybe go out to dinner, maybe go see my parents. Go just do something good with your time, and that's just it's going to be hard to come back from. Like I said, the election was a microcosm of that. I mean, you look at all the people that backed Kamala, including athletes. But you look at all the other people that backed her, and she still got, like I said, just a bloodbath. Demolished. Kamala got demolished. She was demolished. I mean, all these, popular artists and actors and influencers. Taylor Swift endorsed her. Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala, and she still didn't even come close to winning. Isn't Taylor from Pennsylvania? Pennsylvania went big red for Trump. It just shows you, if you're in the entertainment business, you need to stick to entertaining. I know, Laura Ingraham got in trouble. Well, got in trouble. People went after her because she was told LeBron James to shut up and dribble, which is a misnomer, because if she'd ever watched basketball, she'd know LeBron doesn't dribble. He travels a lot. But she's right. His influence his influence off the basketball court means nothing. His personality means nothing. And you compare that to Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan didn't worry about it. And it was an era where they weren't expected to worry about it. He's obviously a North Carolina native, and in 1990, and then again in 1996, there was a very, very hotly contested and divisive Senate race between our longtime Senator Jesse Helms and a guy whose name I can't remember. Harvey Gantt, maybe? I want to say Ron Gantt, but he played for the Braves. Whoever, it was a black gentleman, and, Jesse Helms ran his campaign saying, this was back before DEI and affirmative action, or maybe it was around, we didn't know it yet. Racial quotas were the thing then, and I mean, he ran advertisements talking against it, and of course, a lot of minorities felt the need to speak out against that and speak out for quotas. And there's a famous anecdote where they're on the bus one day, and I think it was Horace Grant was talking to Michael, said, why don't you get involved? Why don't you stand up and say something? It's your home state, North Carolina. My home state, too. His home state. And he supposedly said to him, Republicans buy shoes, too, which has turned into Republicans buy sneakers, too. Basically he doesn't want to alienate half of his fan base, half the people buying his shoes, all of his Jordan gear brand, all of that. And, over the years that's gotten, brought about in controversial ways. Some people say, look, this is how it should be done. Intentionally stay out of politics. Some people say, no, you have to intentionally get yourself into it. And when talking about in The Last Dance, he said, first of all, he was just kind of messing around when he said that. And I mean, I get that, guys talking, and and he also said, in my career, I never really worried about politics when I was on the basketball court. I was just trying to be the best I could be. He said, was that selfish? He said, probably, but you got to remember this was 2020 during the whole social justice is everything time, so of course he'd say that. But no, he was not being selfish at all. He was doing what he needed to do for his craft, and nobody has the obligation to get involved in politics, period. They talk about, your rights to vote, rights to have a say, rights to do this. The one right nobody ever wants to talk about is the right to not give a shit. We all have that right when it comes to every issue, and quite honestly, we exercise it a lot, whether the elite likes it or not. But, could it be something as simple as maybe Michael Jordan said, okay, I'm good at basketball. It doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about politically. Maybe he thought that, just didn't want to admit it. I mean, we don't look at these people and say, hey, he's good at basketball. He must know a lot about politics. Taylor Swift, she's selling 15 billion albums a year. She must know something about politics. No, it's a completely different realm. I'd be more apt to listen to a lawyer or, somebody involved in, the legal system and, the systems that politicians preside over. So that's where the NBA needs to really, in all sports, they need to understand their role. They're entertainers. They're here to entertain us. If you want to go on your own time outside there, that's you. Go for it. Do what makes you happy. Just don't expect us to care. Just because you can play sports does not give you an obligation to say anything or mean that your opinion means anything. So that's just my take on that. And like I said, everybody I feel like is paying the price now. You're seeing them paying the piper. The public has spoken, and for sports, stay out of politics. Just stay out of it. It's not going to do you any good. In fact, it's going to do whatever side you want to do good worse. So it's going to do your brand bad, and that's all there is to it. Caitlin Clark, the one who's out drawing the NBA, I don't know where she stands politically. She's a Taylor Swift fan, so she liked one of her posts where she talks about going out to vote and then mentioned her, support of Kamala. When asked about it, Caitlin said, I just think, people need to vote, which I agree with that. Now, if you don't want to vote, I'm not going to browbeat you, but, a lot of people have fought for people to vote, and, it's just something to think about. But if you're not going to, that's fine. But, I would also probably like it if somebody, hit the like button if somebody that I liked in another genre were to say, hey, go out and vote. I'd be like, yeah, I'll tap the like button. So she doesn't talk about it, and you know what? She is the person of the moment. This is her time. 2024 will always go down as the years of Caitlin Clark in sports. She ruled the year. She brought the WNBA to heights they never even thought about. And like I said, she's took her role as an entertainer and an ambassador for the sport of basketball and made the most of it. So to all the athletes out there, stay out of it. That's just good advice. Politics, again, is a nowhere road. It's brutal. It's heartless. It's moralless. Everybody, every politician, both sides, all the extremes of each side, from moderate to far. It's a nowhere road, morally bankrupt, you name it. So to every athlete out there, especially the young ones, keep your head above the fray. And if they ask you about it, just say, I don't know. I'm just focused on trying to do the best I can. I can't solve the world's problems. So thank you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.